Hi everyone, I'm Mansi Meena, EBC SCC Online Student Ambassador from Nalsar University of Law, Hyderabad. For this interview for SCC blog, I have Prerna, Harsh, Shravani and Pooja with me, who recently represented Nalsar in the ADC ICC Asia Pacific Commercial Mediation Competition. And they'll be sharing tips for area competitions, specifically focusing on the international ones. In the Asian competition, they were the semi-finalists, the only Indian team against three Singapore teams, and they were ranked 1 out of the 22 teams from different parts of the world after the preliminary rounds. They also got the Best Teamwork Award. So, laying down a couple of achievements that Pooja has had during her ADR experience, she had actually teamed up with Shravani for the mediation advocacy and mediation categories at the first edition of the International Mediation Competition Singapore 2019, and they also won gold medals in both. So, as a team, they won gold medals, ranking them in the top three amongst the 44 participating teams from across the world, and they were the only Indian team to achieve such sort of a distinction. Pooja, for the first question, why did you guys choose to be a four-member team, and how was the division of work like between the team?
So Mansi, when we decided to team up for the first time, we decided to choose four members, which actually comprises of two-member teams. So Shravani and I have worked closely in the past with one another, and the same goes for Harshvardhan and Prerna. And the reason we chose four members over two or three is because we believe that we could build on the already existing experience and skill and strategy that each of these individual teams had already built through experience by themselves. Also, by doing this, we had two people in the team who were very good at playing the counsel's role, alongside two people who were very good at being the client. So we had specific divisions that were already there even before we joined the team. However, we actually prepped for this competition for a period of 2 months, and through the entirety of our 2 month journey, we did try all sorts of combinations and all sorts of roles. However, in the actual competition, because we went to the semi-finals, we went to up to 4 rounds. 3 out of those 4 rounds, we had stuck to our original pairs itself. So personally, I think that this became an advantage because instead of wasting time to try to gather each other's skill set and try to understand who was good at what, we already had an existing dynamic and we were just working and bettering that through our 2 month preparation journey.
Shravani has won an individual gold medal at the first international mediation Singapore competition, and she also won the first NUJ's IMW mediation essay writing competition in 2019. So for Shravani, the question that I have is, how long are the students supposed to prepare for such competitions? How long did you guys prepare for the competition?
So how long you want to prepare for it is something that varies from team to team, in my opinion, based on how much prior experience you have. And even though for this team, all of us did have prior competition experience, we decided to prep for a period of 2 months, like Pooja mentioned. The competition was scheduled for August 10, and we started our prep in the month of June itself. So we first reached out to our coaches, we got on call, we decided what schedule we should follow based on everyone's timetables. And because this is online, we decided when to have online mocks, when to have online negotiation classes and everything, after discussing with the coaches, which were AJ Jawad sir and Sandeep Bhalotia sir. So AJ Jawad sir gave us negotiation classes, and we had around 15 mock sessions which were based on different international competition problems, including previous ICC problems. So what all of us did was we came together and we searched for different problems that were available online. We reached out to people and asked for competition problems, as well as the confidential information that is provided in these competitions. Based on this, we divided ourselves into teams, and like Pooja mentioned, we tried out different permutations and combinations of the four of us in different roles of clients and counsels to see what suited us best. Then we had multiple mock rounds, and we used to get elaborate feedback from the judges, which actually lasted 2 to 3 hours. So we devoted a lot of time to preparation because this was something which was important to us. We also recorded our mock sessions so that we could go back and have a look at them post the feedback. We also had mock sessions on the actual ICC problems when they came out, and we spent around 7 to 8 hours discussing each problem, reading it threadbare, and going through every line. So our end goal was what is best for the team, and that is how we decided how to team up for the actual competition. And yes, it's been a wonderful journey.
My third question is directed to Prerna, who's a fourth year student at Nalsar. She has been the winner of Symbiosis Mediation Tournament, and she's participated in the Indian rounds of Brown Boston International Client Counseling Competition. So my question to Prerna is, and I think it's a very relevant question, is how was it doing an international competition and how is it different from a national competition?
So I have taken part in a couple of international mediation competitions before. This was my first international competition, but the experience was quite different compared to those national competitions. So few elements I'd like to point out here are firstly the judges, the result, the organization, and the problems drafted. So with respect to judges, in national competitions, usually what happens is the advocates or lawyers from high courts and stuff are invited to judge the competition. So sometimes it turns out that they don't have enough experience in the ADR field per se, especially mediation. So the feedback sometimes might not be very useful that we get from the national competitions. But in international competitions, organizers make sure that reputed and qualified people in the field of ADR are invited to judge the competition. And with respect to feedback, there is a particular period of time that is dedicated only for the feedback. But in national competition, that really doesn't happen. Usually, team members after the competition, we run behind the judges and ask them for the feedback. But in international competition, feedback is a must. And also, the kind of feedback that they give is very useful. We actually have noted it down because we know that we'll be using it in our future as well. And most importantly, ADR is looked at as a very subjective field compared to mooting or any other activity that we take part in. But that subjectivity is reduced in international competitions, and that is reflected in the feedback and the results that we get. So usually it happens that we are not surprised when the results are out. We know whether we gave a good shot at it or not. So, and also to talk about the organization, international competitions any day have a better organization compared to national competition. They also feel that they're highly accountable to the participants. So in that way, I would say international competitions are better than national competitions. It's not that national competitions aren't better, but since they happen in a larger scale, international competitions seem to be better.
Harsh had participated in the Indian rounds of Brown Boston International Client Counseling Competition in 2019. He was also a semi-finalist in NLIU Tanka International Commercial Arbitration Moot Court Competition 2018. So there's a blend of mooting and ADR. My question to him is that how did you go about preparing the strategy paper for the competition?
Ansi, before we talk about how to make a strategy paper, I think it's essential to understand what purpose a strategy paper serves. And that is to create a first impression in the mind of judge of what kind of a team it is. So no team can afford to slack on that part. The very first obvious step is to read the problem threadbare, read over it multiple times from as many perspectives as possible, brainstorm over interpretation of words, try to rearrange facts in your head and make sense of it. That's a very first obvious step. After that part is done, then you can move according to headings. Now this depends. Every competition has a different requirement for strategy paper. But nonetheless, there are some common ones. For example, most of them have a strength, weakness, uh, best alternative to negotiated agreement, which is called Vatna. Similarly, the worst alternative, which is called Vatna. A couple of headings. After these headings have been sorted out in your head, then you start to read the problem from the perspective of culling out the relevant information. Now, this is also essential for forming an idea of how would you execute the strategy plan. Now, this is an essential step because once you write, that is a different ball game altogether. But once you start executing in the actual round, it's a very different thing. So strategy paper should be kept different from the execution. Nonetheless, your strategy paper is the base on which everything would be based. It also reflects what kind of a concept you have of the problem. So my advice, if I could summarize in certain key points, would be to first read the problem multiple times. Second, it would be that cull out information based upon the requirement of the heading. Third, I would just add a small practical tip, which would be try to be precise. Use as less words as possible. Fourth, another practical tip which I found useful is if you are confused, try to word it not very specifically. Go for a larger, expansive line so that even if you're not sure about something, it gets covered in those words. So be smart with drafting is what I'm essentially conveying in the fourth point. And you should be fine with the strategy paper.
My next question is, and it's very relevant because of the whole COVID situation that we're in right now. How was ODR, which is online dispute resolution, for the first time? And what's the difference between online and an offline competition, and which one is better in terms of what opportunities that one gets?
So doing an online competition was very new for all of us. So it was a huge deal, and at the same time, it was a huge challenge. So we faced quite a bit of issues here. I'm going to be honest. So the online platform that was used was Modron, and the chat option was not as advanced as it is in Zoom or any other platform, which is why communicating with our teammate alone was very difficult. And also with respect to that feeling that we have when we are doing the online competition, where we can look at each other's notes, we can ask the other person to stop whenever we feel that the other person is losing the track, or even maintaining eye contact for that matter was very difficult while doing an online competition. But other than these, because the organization was great, the judges were great, problems were great, competition was a good experience for all of us. So I feel that these challenges are common to all online competitions, not just APCMC. So in general, it was great, but we would have preferred offline competition over online competition because of the entire feel that it gives. And also with respect to socializing with the judges or with other teams, it's very restricted, it's very limited. But with offline, it's very easy to talk to them, get their perspective, and socialize and etc. So yeah, that's it.
My next question is for Shravani, and I think Prerna has already touched upon this aspect. Like, could you elaborate upon that aspect on how the judges were, and what was the composition like of the panel of judges?
Right. So, firstly, about the organizing team, they put in a lot of efforts. They were very cooperative. They helped us familiarize ourselves with the Modron platform. So, we had been practicing, like when we had our personal mock sessions, we had been using Zoom primarily. But when we had to switch to Modron, we asked the organizing team to allow us to have mock sessions, and they graciously allowed us. So, that was very helpful. Other than that, the competition was such a success only because of the organizing team. They reached out to us in time. And so the most difficult thing for the organizing team would have been timings. People from different parts of the world were participating, and everyone was living in different time zones. So to coordinate that effectively, I think hats off to the organizing team for that. Other than that, the competition format allowed professional mediators to be a part of the mediation process, and it was a great experience to be mediated by them. They also gave us feedbacks after the mediation sessions. So usually there were like three judges, there was one mediator, and then there were the four negotiating advocates, sorry, client counsel teams. So two each, four people. And the judges gave us elaborate feedbacks, individual feedbacks as well as team feedbacks. Even the mediator gave us individual and team feedbacks, which was very, very helpful. And as Prerna said, we had noted it down. It has definitely helped us improve upon our mediation advocacy skills. And overall, I think because it was an international competition with international mediators and judges on board, it helped us a lot. It helped us have an holistic overview of how mediation works.
Is it mandatory to have coaches to take part in an international competition? And how do you go about finding the coaches?
So yes, we had two coaches, Mr. AJ Jawad and Mr. Sandeep Balotia. And I'm sure my teammates will agree with me on this, but I don't think we would have been able to reach the semifinals of this competition without their consistent help and advice, and most importantly, their unwavering support. To answer your second question, no, it is not mandatory to have coaches in order to take part in an international competition. But all competitions, in fact, do advise you to have a coach or two. The maximum is two coaches. And in fact, Shravani and I, in our first international competition at IMSG, we did not have a coach. But what I would say was different from the past experience in this is we have been able to perform well both times. However, I think the learning that we got out of this experience is far times more than we did before. Because just summing up on what all my teammates said, like how Shravani said that we had a schedule from day one for 2 months, and that was only possible because of our coaches. We'd made sure that we did at least 20 mocks, and as Prerna said, we even did mocks of the problem itself. So to make sure that all this happened, plus we used to have hours and hours of feedback session, and also the coaches made us understand the theory aspects of mediation. All this time we were only understanding the practical aspect through the process of a competition, but once we understood the theory, we understood when to apply certain things, when to say certain things, and when to withhold from saying certain things. So with regards to that, that's how we went ahead. And with regards to approaching the coaches, so as a team, we had approached seniors, and I think you can also contact your college's ADR cell if you have a committee, because they do have contacts of people who have done very well in the field. And we just searched their profiles on LinkedIn, we got their email IDs, and we sent them an email. We sent them the confirmation of our slot at the competition, and we just requested them to be our coaches. And one thing I can assure you is anyone you reach out to generally is very sweet and very responsive to these emails. We were always met with kindness and a lot of positivity, and both the coaches, they got on call with us, they tried to understand the team, and both of them agreed to it at the end of the day, which we're very grateful for. So even if you're not an NLU, it's my advice that you don't need to worry about it. You just, as long as you have a secured slot in a competition, you can approach anybody that you want, and as long as they think that you have potential, they will definitely guide you. And our coaches stuck by us for the entirety of 2 months through our ups and downs, and they taught us everything that we needed to know. So I think that's the way to go about it.
My next question is to Harsh, and it's very specific to APCMC. Do you have any tips for the students who might take part in this competition in the future?
Sure. Mansi, it largely depends on whether we have another online competition or if it's offline. So I'll try to keep tips which are generic to both. The very obvious one to start off with is to have a very clear concept of what negotiation entails. Like you cannot appear to the competition without having known the basics. And how do you do that? You do that by either reading books on negotiation. There are plenty of books, some classic ones. You have online resources in the form of Harvard Negotiation. You have multiple rounds of actual competitions, particularly ICC Australia and ICC Paris. You also have a few rounds of actual commercial and family mediation on YouTube. So in terms of the learning resources, there is a lot of stuff available on the internet. So use that wisely and try to absorb as much as possible. Second tip would be to watch the rounds and also practice and try to incorporate those learning inputs. Now, it's easy to memorize the theory, and it's a different ballgame altogether to actually implement it. And that's where the importance of mocks comes in. So the number of times you actually practice those skills, the better you get. And if I could just borrow a word from our coach, Mr. Jawad, it's a very conscious thing that you have to incorporate. A lot of things that we do in his own very words. Sometimes we do certain things of which we are not aware of, right? There are certain good things we do of which we are not completely aware of. Now the real hack, now the real edge that you get is when you incorporate them with a very deliberate practice. So he calls it conscious, deliberate incorporation of a skill. Do something of that sort. And third, and what I believe is the most important of all, we must understand that negotiation is part game of presence of mind and part a language game, in the sense of how you express yourself, how you speak, and the words that you choose to express the ideas. So you could work upon your diction, you could work upon your vocabulary, you could work upon the way you express certain ideas. All of these things do not happen overnight. And that's where, like, all of my teammates have stressed this multiple times, and I could not overstress it. Practice mocks. So if I could just summarize three things: have clear concept of what negotiation is. Secondly, watch and practice in the rounds. Thirdly, polish your diction, your vocabulary, and your delivery. And I think you should be fair. Thank you.
My last question is not directed to anybody in specific. It's for the four of you. How was your overall individual experience with this competition?
So I think I'll go first. So my overall individual experience was that I definitely saw growth in me as a mediation advocate. And basically negotiation, like Harshvardhan said, is a skill that you develop over time. I noticed the difference myself. I saw the growth myself, and that meant a lot to me, especially because professionals such as Jawad sir and Sandeep, who do negotiation in their daily lives, they helped us out and they helped us understand the nitty-gritties of what is involved. So that was my takeaway from it.
I think just adding on to Shravani, she's perfectly summarized our experience. But just adding on to that, and what Harshvardhan said before, these 2 months has given us, it's changed us as negotiation advocates and as mediation advocates, because we've not only learned our strengths and weaknesses, we've also learned why we have to do certain things. And some of the things that our coaches told us apply to life in general, because life is nothing but a negotiation. So there were a lot of takeaways, both I think professionally we obviously did benefit from it, but also personally we benefited from it a lot. We're still in close contact with our coaches because there's so much to learn from them on a daily basis. But as a competition, I think it was a wonderful exposure, and they were a lot of international competitions this year had gone ahead and canceled the competition because of COVID. But ICC managed to pull through, and they did give us the best possible thing we could have online. So I think we did make the best use of it and came out as better individuals and mediation advocates.
Whatever Shravani and Pooja mentioned holds true for me as well. And it's very true that we just didn't learn the skills that we use only for competitions and stuff. We also learned very important life skills. Now I know how to better deal with my parents or with my siblings. So that is a very important part of this entire experience for me. Online competition was challenging, but still it's a huge experience. It's a very new experience, and we all can agree that we are lucky to have such an experience with us. And in addition to that, we learned a lot, and Jawad sir and Sandeep sir both were awesome. They were amazing, and without them, we couldn't have achieved whatever we achieved. Overall, it was a great experience.
Yeah, Mansi, I'll slightly go on a different tangent when I say that I think the biggest takeaway for me was that we are one step closer to being ODR professionals. Because, like it or not, online dispute resolution is going to stay. Like, might reduce, might get popularized no matter what. But it is a very different ball game from in-person negotiation. Hence, acquiring those skill sets or the very experience of it is very necessary. So, as basic a skill as maintaining eye contact or maintaining coordination with the person sitting next to you, or despite the technical glitches, carrying on the rounds, all of these skills you acquire only when you participate. And you might know that this question is being debated quite a lot, whether virtual arbitration or virtual mediation or negotiation will stay or not. And people have different takes on it. But by now, we have reached almost a vague enough clarity about the fact that it is going to stay. And That is what I believe is the biggest reason why students like us should opt for such competitions. As much as we dislike the fact that we could not participate in an actual competition, at least I am really thankful that we are ready for the future. We are ready with a skill set which we would definitely require in our future professional life. And what more could I ask from a competition?
Thank you, guys. I think it's going to be very helpful for students who are aiming for media competitions. I'll also add your LinkedIn profiles to the transcript that I'll attach so that if any student has any specific query, they can directly get in touch with you. Again, thanks a lot. I think this has been really helpful.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mansi.
for having us, Mansi.
Thanks a lot, Nancy, for having us here.
Thank you.